Hello everyone, welcome back to another one of your lessons for MPC 003 Unit 1. As you remember, in the last lesson, we were discussing how does personality develops, and we discussed the biological factors that help in the development of personality. Today, we will be learning about the psychological and environmental factors which promote the development of personality. So let's get into the session ahead. So, when we talk about personality development, we learned that there are three factors, namely biological, psychological, and environmental, which help in the development of personality. So let's move ahead and learn the psychological factors now. So when we talk about the psychological factors, there are several psychological factors which tend to determine the development of personality, and we can specify what these factors are. So there are four factors which play a major role rather than others. So first is intellectual determinants. So what are intellectual determinants? When we talk about intellectual determinants, it is important to understand that these are the elements and these are the factors which help in understanding the cognitive capacity of an individual. So these are one of the most important factors which influence the development of personality. Researchers are of view that intellectual capacity influence personality through various kinds of adjustment in life, which directly and indirectly affect an individual's personality. So judgment allows an individual to varyingly form their personality, and individuals having superior intelligence affects personality development because they may have certain social problems or certain problems that would not be encountered by persons who are just bright. Okay, so cognition can varyingly affect an individual's development of personality. Next is emotional determinants. When we talk about emotional determinants, these are important factors that shape the development of personality, and emotions are considered most important personality factors in terms of development because they affect personal and social adjustment. Research has also shown that several aspects of emotions, such as dominant emotions, emotional balance, emotional deprivation, excessive love and affection, emotional expression, and emotional catharsis, all of these directly and indirectly affect the development of personality. Some people experience a predominance of pleasant emotions while others experience a predominance of unpleasant emotions. Regardless, the way each individual experiences these emotions and regulates their emotions impact their personality. Okay, so understand that it's not just one factor in it, there are multiple elements. When we talk about emotion, excessive love and affection can have a negative or positive effect on an individual's personality. Sigmund Freud had cautioned that too much parental love and affection can awaken a disposition for neurotic disorders and spoil the child, making an individual a problematic teenager or an adolescent. Remember that control over the overt expression of emotion is often necessary to avoid social disapproval. However, repression of emotions such as anger, fear, jealousy, and envy makes an individual gloomy and morbid, which ultimately produces behaviors such as extreme laziness, lack of interest, and a lot of the times they feel lethargy and fatigued. All right, so there is an important factor of emotion in terms of development of personality. Next is self-disclosure. When we talk about self-disclosure, this is considered one of the basic to mental health, and these disclosure helps an individual bring about a healthy personality pattern, which guarantees for a socially desirable and favorable reaction from others. Emotional stress expressed in the form of anxiety, frustration, jealousy, or even envy can affect the development of personality. Remember that a person who suffers from emotional stress makes good personal and social adjustments, and intense emotional stress may motivate the person to go from excess hope to being relieved from it. Remember, that, when we talk about certain elements such as this, for example, a person may resort to overeating and usage of drugs to dull the intense feeling of insecurity which has been caused by emotional stress. Now, this has been reported that women, when they experience greater degree of emotional stress during menstrual period, are found to develop depressive tendencies as well. You all must have heard about the PMDD disorder, which occurs during the cycle. Okay, if you have not heard about it, do read upon it. All right. Now, moving ahead, next we have aspirations and achievements. When we talk about aspiration and achievements, these are some things that push a person forward. Okay, they have an effect on the development of an individual's personality, because aspiration over here is a longing for and striving for something higher than one's present status. So the person's aspiration are often ego involved. So they have goals, what they want to do. They might be realistic or unrealistic, but research has shown that high aspiration are not necessarily a source of damage to the self-concept, but they may be a source of motivation and pleasure. They may also be a kind of wishful thinking that will not cause any damage to personality as long as it remains in a form of fun and play. Remember that with the concept of aspiration and achievement comes goal setting in order to achieve those aspirations, because just having aspiration will not help. Being able to achieve these aspirations are truly something that forms our personality. Oftentimes people say that, failure is also a big teacher. Why is that? Because that also plays a role in shaping our personality. Okay, let's move ahead next to environmental factors. Now, when we talk about environmental factors, this is not just about the place that you are living in, but besides psychological and physical factors, there are factors within our situation, within our setting, that have a significant impact upon the development of personality. The first one that we discuss is social acceptance. So, social acceptance is one of the major environmental determinants, because every person lives in a social group, and this group judges the person's behavior in terms of the person's conformity to what is going on. Now, how you are accepted in a society would often formulate the kind of personality traits you may have. If you were someone whose behavior was applauded, if you were not shamed, you were appreciated, you were accepted, you were, I would say, in a sense, you were also celebrated, right? Then you would develop into a healthy adult. Your personality would be that would be of more appealing, more cheerful, because you have that secure sense that yes, I am accepted. But on the other hand, if a person faced negligence from the society, exclusion from the society, oppression from the society, their personality would be completely different. Okay, so that is the concept of social acceptance, how much and to what extent you are accepted by the society that you are in. Now, at times, unfavorable, results from society leads to a person developing an unsocial or antisocial personality. Moving ahead, next, social deprivation. When we talk about social deprivation, it is said to influence the development of personality in massive and significant way, because this means being deprived of opportunities for various types of social contacts, which includes love and affection. Social deprivation often causes social isolation, which has an adverse effect on personality. And this deprivation has proved most damaging for two age groups specifically: the extremely young and the extremely elderly. So, young children who are deprived of contact with parents fail to develop healthy and normal personality. Their behavior is socially disapproved, and they are also unfavorably judged by others. Similarly, social deprivation in elderly people make them self-bound and selfish in nature. Okay. Next is educational factor. Now, even though we may think that yes, education to an extent does not have that big an impact, but largely it determines the kind of circles an individual would be in. So, school, colleges, teachers have a significant impact on the development of personality, because educational institutions affect and determine the kind of peer interaction you would be having. So, understand that an individual who gets of warm and friendly relationship with their teachers and peers would have a stronger sense of self-confidence and self-esteem. They would be more sure about themselves. They would have better positive experiences rather than someone who does not have that good of a student-teacher or student-peer relationship. They would often struggle. They would feel rejective. They might be hostile. Okay, there are a lot of things that can go wrong in this kind of a setup. Next is family determinants, the bonds and attachment that we share with our family. So this is another important factor which influences the development of personality, because the influence of family on personality development is maximum at all ages. Family affects the development of personality both directly or indirectly. Direct influences of family includes the child training methods which are used, attitudes, way of communication, values that are shared in personality, the kind of environment that is there at home. So imagine if there is an individual who is growing up in an environment where emotions are not discussed. In his family, they do not talk about emotions. He's constantly told that, you know what, it's just a feeling, let it go. Don't stress about it so much. It's of no value. So what would happen in future is the person may become more emotionally closed off, right? They might not share what they are feeling. They will feel hesitant. They would exhibit similar behavior. So let's say this person gets in a relationship. What is going to happen? This person is similarly again going to say the same thing to their partner, that, you know what, it's fine. You're just feeling it right now. Let's sleep over it. It's going to be fine. So since that is the kind of behavior that he or she has observed, that's what they are indicating, and it becomes a part of their personality. Okay, because certain personality patterns are similar to that of an individual's parents, because they are their most immediate social circle. Okay, so emotional climate of home and ordinal position, at which position you are born, second, third, or middle, youngest, or the only child, all these influence the way your personality would be developed. Okay, lastly, we have the size of the family. So when we talk about size of family, it is important that children, in larger families and in nuclear families, have a different trajectory of personality development. So children learn to be independent and show maturity in their behavior at an early age when compared to children of smaller families. So this is something that happens in larger family, because in larger families it is encouraged for them to take certain things by themselves or maybe responsible for their younger siblings. Okay, but in larger families certain personality characteristics may hamper good personal and social adjustment, because they are surrounded by so many people at a lot of times. Okay, so there would be a lot of competition as well, because there are going to be several elements who would want the parental attention. So the child may have to compete with various other factors. Okay, so remember that when we talk about family size, that is also something which determines the development of personality. One of the things that I would like to highlight over here is a formula. So how we can conclude the development of personality, often, a simple equation. So whenever someone asks you that how does personality develop, a simple factor formula: physical into psychological into environmental determinants. All these factors together influence and develop the personality of a person. Okay, that's something that'll be all for our today's session. Hope you all enjoyed and had a fun lesson. Let's discuss few questions and how you can answer them. First one, define personality, citing example, make distinction between temperament and character. I think this is an easy one to do. Give the definition which was given by Allport. Also state how he arrived to this definition. Apart from that, cite examples of temperament and character, how both are different. Talk about values and moral judgment in temperament. You can talk about inborn attitudes, irritability. Okay. Next is discuss the physical or biological determinants of personality development. I think you all can do this. We discussed 6 elements. I hope you all can discuss all 6. All right. Next is outline the role of psychological determinants of personality development. This is something that we just did right now. So talk about these 4 factors, elaborate and give examples for each one of them. Next is discuss the role of environmental determinants. Again, talk about the 6 elements that we discussed over here and give examples appropriately. That'll be all for our today's session. And that is Now we are done with Unit 1. Hope you understood what is personality, what are the factors that lead to the development of personality, and keep reading more about it. Okay? Thank you all for joining in and see you in the next lesson. Till then, take care and happy learning.